Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from. We are live. This is the Insaka Talk Show. My name is Priska. We look amazing today. I'm in red.
Mhm.
I'm green, not planned, but you do know that we do think alike. We look gorgeous. Irene and I were sisters with our afro. Anyway, guys, how are you?
Go ahead,
Well,
Irene.
well, I'm good. Happy Sunday. And we had snow yesterday, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, I will never come to Chicago this time of the year. And guys, do not ever go there. It's cold. Nelly in Texas, it's warm. How are you?
I am doing great. And according to the weather, we're looking at 66 degrees Fahrenheit today. So it's a beautiful day.
What did you do this Friday, Saturday? What did you do, Irene?
Ooh.
For me, I don't know if I told you guys I have a new job. It's with the state, and I got my license on Thursday. I'm so
Congratulations. What license?
I'm gonna be doing mental health, so I'm gonna be a mental health counselor. So which
Mhm.
aligns to everything that I've been doing. So I'm so happy. It was hard, but I tried my own best and I got it.
Good.
So this
Congratulations.
Friday I had a glass of wine to celebrate.
Woo-hoo!
Another license. Nelly, you got your license too. I know you don't want to talk about it. I'm talking about it. It's an achievement.
Yes.
Congratulations.
It's okay. We can talk about it. Yes, I got my life insurance license in the
Yay.
state of Texas. So I will be doing a whole lot of financial teaching, guys. Like, there's so much information that we don't know that we are missing out of on how to grow your money and stuff like that. You know, I'm all about the Benjamins. So that's why I'm in green.
Yes. I stayed home. I watched a movie. It's been a long time. I haven't done that in a long time. But before we get into it, what is the icebreaker? Let's get into the icebreaker, guys.
All right, icebreaker. Let us see.
If you had to write a book, what would the
Mm-hmm.
book be about? And not only what would the book be about, I'll think of the other one. I forgot what else I had to add on. But if you had to write a book, Nelia, I told what did I say?
I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Irene,
But
what
if
did
it
I
comes,
say?
Irene, do you
You
remember?
said, well, no, you didn't, but we're gonna go with what if you wrote a book,
Mm-hmm.
what would it be about? So I'm gonna start with
Well, and
Nelly.
what was your lesson?
Oh, what was your lesson? Yes. Okay, we're gonna start with Nelly so that you can think about what you were about to say. Please. Nelly, go ahead.
I think if I was to write a book, I would write about my mother's life and career. I've actually been thinking for a very long time. I think I've shared this with, you ladies at some point. My mom is a hospital chaplain, and I can see myself like just writing a book about that. And I even have a picture, right? Like, she's wearing her preaching gown and she's standing like this in a hospital corridor. That would be the cover. And it would just be called The Chaplain, because
Oh,
there are so many interesting stories that come out of, like, most of them obviously very, very sad. But there are some light and funny moments in there too. And that would also be translated into a show,
wow.
Interesting. It's
like
a
something like a Grey's Anatomy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah,
that keeps on going and going and going.
that keeps on going, but it's centered around the chaplain, not because most TV shows are centered around the medical, the doctors, the nurses. This one is centered around the spiritual side of what happens in the hospital. So
And
I think that would be awesome.
we need to have mom on the show.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
is a very different career and
Hmm.
something different that we don't even know what goes on unless you're in a hospital
Hmm.
near death and you need somebody to pray with. That's when we think about them. But it's a gifted. I feel like it's a gift that
Yeah.
we have. Yeah.
We can bring her maybe next month because it's Women's Month.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's a
Gotta find
different.
a week that we can plug her in.
All right.
All right.
For me, if I had to write a book, I think I would write a self-help book. or
Mm.
something inspiring, encouraging, empowering, because I was today's years old in my 40s when I learned and understood about who are you after everything is stripped away from you. Let's remove the makeup, let's take
Mm.
the cars, the purses, the everything. Who are you as a person? And would you still love yourself? And with
Mm.
everything that you've gone through, that you've done, would you forgive yourself? And I feel like I'm going through a midlife crisis, and I'm rebranding and doing different things. So I would write a book about that, because I am
Mm.
falling in love with myself every day. Like, look at me, I love me. Irene, what would your book be about? And guys, there's a reason why we're talking about the book, because our guest today, she's an author.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you all know I love children, and I think I'm always thinking towards writing a book about, um, how we lived when we're young in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
um, so that the people who are our friends here that we have adopted here that don't know anything about our bringing, there's a lot of questions. Then they can
Mm.
read that book. I wrote a book. I haven't talked about it yet because I haven't published it, but it's all about Africa. So me, anything to do with Africa, children, I'm game.
Nice. All right. And let us know in the comments as you are watching, if you were to write a book, what would it be about? We want to hear from you as well. So, diving into our community news, guys, we actually, before that, we do have some trending topics, or just pretty much one, right, that we agreed that we're going to talk about today in the interest of time, because we want to make sure that we give our special guests the amount of time that they deserve, so they can you get to learn about them later in the show. Trending topics. Priska, do you want to handle this one?
Slap D has a new album called, that album is confusing. What is the name of the album? Is it Black and White? Is it BW3? What is it? All I hear is, and what I know about Slap D is always sharing people's work. He's
Mm.
always supporting other artists, so he's received a lot of support, and we love him. We had Slap D on the show. We would love
Mhm.
to have you back, so you can tell us about this confusing album. What is
I
it? What
know.
is the name of the Zenali, Black and White, Black and White, BW3 in? What is it?
Like,
Congratulations. We wish you the best. You nailed it. You are the king of kings. And when it comes to music, so congratulations, Slapdi.
And you know what I'm going to say to him is my birthday mate. So obviously I'm gonna give you 100.
mm.
$100 on his
A
birthday. Or just
hundred. He has
okay.
to. It's $100. It's 100,000. It's 100 kwacha. He should call us.
Mhm.
I'll tell him what the 100 is all about.
Slapdi, $100 is coming from Irene on your birthday to congratulate you on your album.
Absolutely.
Yay! All right, stop.
Birthday.
But this is confusing, bro. Like, look
Yeah.
at this, right? So your album says, it says the name of the album is BW3. But then again, when I look at this, it says Zinali, there's Black Na White. And by the way, the Na is kind of, you would confuse it for in. I think, it's Black Na White, but I don't know.
I would love to be
Anyway, our
part of
music is good. We love it.
Yeah. The words, oh my God, the words.
Mhm.
I never understood how to listen to rap until you told me it's about the words, because I thought it was
Yeah,
just so loud.
it's all
Me,
about the
I'd love to
lyrics,
know what
man.
the three is all about because we see that BW is black, white. What is the
Mm,
three for? The three, the three,
right. I'm
whatever,
curious about that. So Slap, if anybody tag him, let him know that we have a question here, Pansak.
whatever.
Anyway, moving on to community news. We have the Kuomboka Gala that is happening on April 13th here in Dallas, y'all. The Insaka team is going to be here. So if you guys want to see the rest of us, since you only get to see our, if you want to mingle and, have fun, I love to dance. Anybody that has partied with me knows I love to dance. So just clear the space for me because we'll be at the Kuomboka Gala.
I will be watching you guys on the
I
side.
can't promise that I wear Mississippi, but I'm coming and I'm going to be rocking whatever outfit I'll be rocking. But see you there in Dallas.
And
Yeah.
you know, Musisi, really, you don't have to do so much because it does itself. You
Mm.
know how it just moves by itself.
Thank you. I'll be supporting, but I'm not wearing it.
Okay, love it. And then
Williams on the Hope Foundation High Tea is coming next month, March 23rd, 2024 in New York. The Insaka ladies will be there. We would love to see you guys. We actually haven't been in New York. The last time we were all together in New York was last year, right?
Yeah,
I don't
but
think we've
Nelly,
actually been
Nelly
all
wasn't
together.
there. No, Nelly wasn't there. It was
Yeah.
just you, me, and Winnie.
No. And then you were not there when I was there with
Oh,
Nelly.
yeah.
Yeah. We haven't been all together in New York ever. But
Yeah, so
we've
this
been
is
all
gonna be the
together
first.
in Las Vegas and in Texas.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait for
And as you
for
guys know, it's for a good cause. Even if you cannot make it, you cannot be there. Please donate because she's doing an amazing thing for the kids.
Yes.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Close to you, Winnie.
Yes. Oh, and also Winnie is not here today. She is unwell. She's under the weather right now. So please keep her in your prayers so that she can recover as quickly as possible and join us again. Winnie, we love you. We miss you. Get well soon.
Yeah, she went and got a massage yesterday, and she
Woo!
a self-care thing. She was like, I did my self-care. I was like, love it. Do it every day.
Good.
She's feeling better.
Mo is saying, yeah, can't wait to have you at the gala.
We can't wait.
Woo!
We're coming, Mo. We're coming. And then Kupi said maybe Zinali and Black and White are the names of the songs.
Oh,
We don't
No,
know.
Zinali is the name of the song, but Black and White is on every song that he just released because he just released these songs like 2 days ago. So if you go on YouTube and type Slap D's 2024 album, it's going to, each song that comes up will have the BW3.
okay.
So
Don't worry, it's a Taurus. We always keep our word. He's going to call us and he's going to clarify.
There says, good afternoon, ladies. Good afternoon. Well, our guest is here. She's waiting in the background. But before we bring our guest in, let's go to commercial and say thank you to our sponsors. As you guys know, we have to pay our bills.
Absolutely.
My whole life, my father told me stories about moving to the United States. He would tell me that his brother, my Uncle George, was already living here and let my father stay with him for a while. Through my Uncle George, my father was introduced to our cultural organization here in America, who helped him make connections, apply for college, find his first job, and adjust to life in a completely different culture than he was used to. The Cultural Association helped him get started on his new life. My Uncle George would bring my father with him to the annual Summer Cultural Groups Festival, and later, he would bring me. It was incredible to see so many people of all ages laughing and celebrating with food and song and dance. It brought back the best feelings of home and gave my father the opportunity to pass his culture, language, and values on to me. My father and Uncle George were very close, so when George died last year, my father wanted to honor his wishes to be buried with a traditional ceremony back at his birthplace. My father told me that because Uncle George had cultural group life insurance, he was able to afford to bring George home and have the traditional burial George wanted. Though my father had been able to honor my Uncle George's wishes, it got me thinking about my own family. One day, I'd have to make the same arrangements for my own parents and my wife's parents as well. Of course, we would want to bring them home and honor their wishes, but it would be a financial hardship for our family. There were a lot of things to think about, even though I really didn't want to think about them at all. When my father told me about cultural group life insurance, he told me it's intended to help families when they need it the most. It's not tied to an employer, so no matter where my career takes me, I'll always have coverage. The more people who participate and the younger they are, the more it helps keep the insurance premiums down for the entire association. Because my parents have cultural group term life insurance, there will be money available to help me provide the kind of service I want to give my parents. And by joining, I can put my mind at ease and continue to celebrate our traditions into the future. With cultural group life insurance, I can worry less and spend more of my time celebrating with the people who matter most to me.
Hello and welcome back to the Insaka Talk Show. Just before we went on the break, we told you about a special guest that we have on the show today. And so before we bring her in the studio, I just want to give you a little background of who she is. We have the pleasure of hosting Miss Chipepo Mugala on the show today. She is a graduate of UW Medic's Physician Assistant Program of 2015. And over the last 7 years, she split her time between her two passions, which is acute care medicine in urgent care settings and behavioral medicine. Since 2017, Chipepo has been serving as a psychiatric subscriber in Sound's Community Network program, CNP, where she serves individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. She lives in King County. And the Sound Community Program is a nonprofit community mental health provider serving people with mental and substance use disorders. She was recruited to Sound CNP program by her mentor, Dale Sanderson, who recently retired. But when she's not doing all of this, we also know that Chipepo is a dedicated mother, and she is also a writer of a children's book, which is what we're going to focus on today on the Insaka Talk Show. Welcome to the Insaka Talk Show, Chipepo.
Thank you, ladies, for having me. It's such an honor to be here today.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Chipepo, welcome to the show. Nice to meet you and to see you.
Nice to meet all of you, ladies. This platform is so amazing.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Chipepo, how are you?
Hello.
Finally, I get to see the person I speak to all the time.
Yes. I wanted to say that Slap D is my celebrity crush.
Oh,
Okay.
Slap D forever and ever. I haven't listened to his CD, but he is my absolute celebrity crush.
He's actually good people. You know, when he came here to Texas, I had the honor of meeting him, my husband and I, and we spent some time. We went to a reggae festival together, and so yeah, he's actually a very much a people person. You know? Yeah, he's a people person,
And he's funny.
Yeah,
He's very
he has a sense of humor. He doesn't take himself too seriously.
Oh, now I'm really touching on him, so that's great.
All right. So today we are going to be talking about multilingual adventures and exploring animal names in 10 different languages with our guest Chipepo, who actually wrote a children's book that we are going to be talking about today in different languages. Guys, this is so inspiring and exciting. As a parent with a young child that I'm trying to teach something from the motherland, this is information that came at a very much needed time. So what inspired you to write this book?
Oh,
Let's start from there.
I am, like most of you guys or most people, a child of the Zambian diaspora, living most of my life outside of Zambia. And that really kind of gets you thinking as to what makes us Zambian, especially when we're not there or we're from there. And language is really such a huge part of any culture, right? And most of the times, if somebody they're saying, oh, you're not Zambian enough, or you're not this enough,
Yeah.
they're referring to the fact that you probably don't speak the language very well. So living in the Zambian diaspora, and this project started way before I became a mother, it really kind of got me thinking about what it is about me that makes me Zambian, and how
Mhm.
to better, connect to my roots. And one way is language.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's kind of what started this whole journey, which has been a real passion project. It's been 4 years of kind of speaking and recruiting people from the diaspora. Having lived in the diaspora, I had the privilege of knowing other people in the diaspora. So the Nigerian community, the Zimbabwean community, because that's kind of the cool thing about being in the diaspora is you get to meet other Africans where
Mhm.
wouldn't have gotten that opportunity in Zambia, right? Um, and through all my associations and my great friends here, I was able to come up with this project. So, for example, the amazing illustrator, she's South African, and I met her through a high school friend. I was living in Seattle at the time, who lives in Vancouver, Washington, Canada. Sorry, so that's just 2 hours away. So she connected me with Carrie
Mhm.
Swenson, who illustrated this amazing book. I have a copy with me right here. So yeah, and being Zambian, I made sure I did shout out to my native tongue, which is Pemba. But I grew up in Mazabuka, which is, southern province, so Tonga, and I've
Mhm.
adopted children who are Tonga. Their birth parents are Tonga, so there's that Tonga and Bemba, and then in celebration the Kwamboka, we just released Lozi. So we've got three
Ah.
languages.
I'm
Yes.
gonna sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Before we get there, you
Mm.
yourself, you have an interesting background. Born in Zambia, raised in South Africa, made in America. I always tell myself that we have a similar background. And you've written a book. How many languages do you speak, and did that was that the inspiration for the book? I know you talked about it, but a little bit deeper.
So my story, especially about language, is a little sad because my first language was Bemba, or is Bemba. And then just through privilege, I was able to go to boarding schools where the predominant, the instruction language was English. So from that, like my family made this huge switch to English, and everyone just kind of pushed English, English, English. And so my Bemba is not great. So based on that, I was like, I need to reconnect with Bemba. And and I grew up in Zambia, but I left when I was 13 and went to high school in South Africa. So there was more English. Then came here for college when I was 19. So even more English. So that kind of took me further and further away from my native tongue. And so I really wanted to reconnect with that, and also give an opportunity for those of us who are raising children here or want to reconnect with our language, to be able to do so. So that was kind of the inspiration, where I just feel I'm speaking so much English, and to think in Bemba, it's so foreign to me, which is just devastating in a way.
It can be so confusing too.
Mhm.
Especially when you speak different languages, you're like, okay, what am I saying now? What am I thinking now? It's so confusing.
Yeah. And in fact, my mother is such an amazing linguist, because she's the one who actually translated for me the Bemba
Mm.
version, the Tonga version. She speaks fluent Tonga. You'd think she's Tonga, but she's not. She's Bemba Bisa. She also translated the Lozi version and Chichewa. So this woman is such a linguist. But I took after my dad, so we're very bad with languages. So the privilege is my mother is like very fluent in multiple languages, and I wish I was given that natural talent. But for me, it's work.
Right.
Out of all the languages, which one can you say you can speak fluently
Mhm.
aside from Bemba?
English.
That's it.
English. Yeah,
Go.
English. Yeah, no, but I can understand Nyanja, I can understand Tonga, and I can understand Bemba, but that's, the thing is I left when I was 13. So even
Mm.
though it was my first language, it's now become
Second language.
One, I'll get my tenses all mixed up. Like my mom will correct me and say, no, that's not the right tense. So it's that. And now with my 2.5-year-old, we're really trying to push Bemba on her as much as possible. So my mom predominantly just speaks to her in Bemba, but she'll answer back in English, which is yeah.
So, why a picture book? I know you've always wanted to do this before you even had your child. Did you think about, one day I'll have children and I want to teach them, like about Africa. So should I do a picture book or should I do just words? Why a picture book? Why specifically that?
Well, it's going back to simplicity, right? Just keeping it simple. The target was always children in the diaspora, and connecting us in the diaspora with our ancestry. So that's why I picked a picture book, because it's really kind of targeted to toddlers, babies. So because I'm a child of the diaspora, so that's kind of what it came back to. And vision plus words is really helpful in learning. So that's why I predominantly picked a picture book, because it's that target audience, and it's for our children, or it's for us who are growing up raising children in the diaspora, the Zambian diaspora.
You're right, because I think children learn better when they see their visual. They see a picture that is colorful, and before they can even then know the name, they'll start asking about other things in the picture. So they learn other things other than the actual picture itself. That's great.
Right. And they kind of like, because my daughter, she is, her language is, we just developing the language. She's 2.5. So it starts off with moo, and then it's like, okay, that's a cow. So it's the animal, then it's like mouthing out the sound, then it's enunciating the words, and then because she was in Wenatchee, there's also the English words. So there's a lot of associations that picture media can help us do.
That's nice.
It's called picture media.
I guess so.
And then just to be clear, most books we read, right? So yours is pictures. What's the correct term for the actual book?
It's an illustrated book.
Illustrated.
So it's children's illustrated book, because it's really the picture, and then you've got the native word. And the fun thing about it is, I know most of us who can speak other languages, for example, can anyone even tell me what a rhinoceros is in Bemba? So there's also, with colonization, like we've kind of abandoned a lot of these words. So my mom's generation,
I know, I'm thinking
what's the hippo in Bemba? Because we all know hippo. So,
I think I know a hippo.
So we should all know what a hippo is, or what ichipembele is, or like what are all these words, and why do we know what a giraffe is and not know that in Bemba is India Buluba? This is right. So
India Buluba, it's actually derivative from Lamba, India Buluba, because the Lamba, yes, like the one that eats the flowers because of how tall it is. Yeah, India Buluba.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Whoa!
You just had
whoa!
Yeah.
You didn't even think about it.
You see, Chipepo, you came on our show and you learned something, right?
Oh my gosh! We learn stuff every single day, and that's the beauty of it. But yes, like that, just breaking it down. That's wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we've talked about why a picture book. I think I'm curious to know, when I look at the cover of your book, right? Why did you choose the elephant to be the cover? And by the way, this is the Afrikaans version that we picked for this illustration, but why the elephant?
Oh, that's a phenomenal question. It's the elephant is my paternal tribal animal.
Oh,
In Zovu. So that is even the name of my book company, is the elephant. Our chief is Muleka Tembo. So Muleka Tembo is an elephant, actually kind of in Swahili, but Nikas are in Tanzania, Zambia, and Malawi. And when the Europeans came, the British people came, they told us to stop hunting elephants. We used to be elephant hunters as our tribe. And so when the British came, they're like, no, you can't do that anymore. So that's how the chief became Muleka Tembos, like stop hunting the
Tambos.
the Tembos, Muleka Tembos. So that is why the elephant is predominant, because that is my tribal animal.
Wow.
it's so funny that we were struggling to know the giraffe in so many languages in Zambia. But the elephant, for some reason, it's very easy. And so,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's easy.
Tambo.
Tembo, yeah. So, but these other animals, I think it's hard to actually know the names.
Right.
Ivy Mulenga says, so true. We have abandoned them. I think she's referring to what you just said a few minutes ago. And then PMC DJ Pressure T says, I'm following the conversation. Thanks, PMC. We love you. And then Ivy Mulenga says, very inspiring. More, this is so educative, even for us adults. This is really good.
We're learning.
Yeah.
We are learning, and guess what? We're going to pass these learnings on to our children.
So moving forward, you had so many people that jumped onto the project that helped, and Nelly just showed the Afrikaans part. I don't know if you speak Afrikaans, but what, bro? I know you had a South African. I'm Afrikaans because I'm from Cape Town. The South African Kelly played a role, who's South African that you talked about earlier on. What role did she play for the book?
So her name is Kerry, Kerri. She is my amazing illustrator. So at the very bottom, it says illustrated by Kerry Sanson. I have no artistic bone in my body, not one. And so this was a great collaboration with Kerry, and started really during the time of the pandemic. So she was living in Vancouver, Canada, and I was in Seattle. And with the devastation that came with the pandemic, we got to slow down. So I actually got to start working on this project. And Kerry is a occupational therapist, I believe. And so she had more time for her art, which is also like her first love. And so we connected through my high school friend, Louise. And so that's how I got to meet Kerry, and she did all these illustrations and put them together for us. And then, because it's a collaborative effort, I don't speak Afrikaans, I don't speak Xhosa, so I communicated with all those who did. I don't speak Shona, so my great friend Mutsa from Zimbabwe did all the Shona illustration. My phenomenal friend from Nigeria, Emike, did Yoruba and Igbo. My great friends from Malawi and my mom did Chichewa, Annette, and my mom did Chichewa. And I think, am I missing anything? And then we've got the Zambian languages as well.
You have Swahili?
I think.
So sorry?
Swahili?
Oh my gosh. And Swahili, my Kenyan, and in university, my roommate Rachel Temu was from Tanzania and actually lives in Kenya right now. But my friends from university, I went to Arizona State, they did the Swahili version. So my great friend Vanessa, who lives in Chandler, Arizona, she's got 2 young boys, and so they're learning Swahili. My good friend Diana, she lives in Texas, and she has 2 amazing kids, and so they're learning Swahili as well. And then my friend Rachel, who's back in Africa, and she's in Kenya. So this was a multi-international collaborative effort, as most of us in the diaspora know. We just connect with each other and we help each other.
This is great networking. You must have a lot of friends on your back, because for you to network all those countries,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you
And
know,
even mothers.
for somebody to do something for you, they must be very, very close to you and trust you.
Oh my goodness, these guys, and because everyone's busy, right? So everyone is doing. They've got their lives. People working multiple jobs. They're having children. But I think what ties us all together is we are also invested in preserving our languages and passing those on to our children.
Yes.
This really was, I think, the glue that bound all of us into this, because all of us volunteered. So this was all volunteer services, and no one was compensated for it. Carrie was compensated for the art because of all the supplies and the time. But this was a definitely all of us were just wanting to really make sure we're preserving our languages and passing it on.
That's great.
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Irene, sorry, I know you have a question. You want to ask her the next question. I just wanted to just jump in here because you mentioned that Carrie was compensated, and can you talk about the importance of that decision? Why you decided to do that in regards to the illustrations?
Oh, absolutely. Because that's her gift. She's an artist, and I truly believe in us, especially in the diaspora, supporting each other with whatever gifts we have, right? So that is her gift, and that's her skill. And one of the things that was really important to me, because she was like, oh, you don't have to pay me that much, and I'm like, Carrie, you are good at what you do. You need to start telling us, like, my work, my art, my time is worth this amount, and I'll compensate you for that. So that was really, really important. And then the second part is I had planned on doing multiple languages, so I wanted to retain those, the artwork as mine, to use them as I chose to. So should I later want to do something else, these are my pieces of art, because I'm thinking for them, and so I've retained those rights. So that's the two main reasons, is to support Carrie's business, and also to make sure that I'm able to reuse and repurpose the art as I choose to.
Very important for those of you out there who are planning on maybe writing a book, and producing something or publishing something out there, knowing about rights and what rights you have and things of that nature. Because I think sometimes people get excited with, yes, I have the passion, I have the story, and then you don't look at the business side of things about retaining the rights to the work. Sorry, go ahead, Irene.
It's before I ask this question, I had a lengthy conversation with Chipepo about my book, and I shared it with her, so she, at her own time, she'll read it. And I was like, I've been sitting on this, but I proofread it and all that stuff. The first thing she said, you know what, girl, published already. What are you waiting for? I'm like, money. She's like, no, it's not about money. Go ahead and just go to Google, to Amazon, let them do it. I know they'll get a huge percentage, but at the end of the day, your story is out there. So, but that's the passion that you have, is to share what you know and love to other people or amateur writers like me.
Yeah.
I've been sitting on this book for a very long time until you said, you know what, go ahead and publish it.
Oh my gosh, yes. We gotta get our workouts, whatever you are interested in. Don't sit on it. Like, yes, take the time, but you have to commit and say, okay, I've got to get this workout. I've invested all this time. I've invested all my friends' time. I've got to publish this. And so I just made that leap and just said, I got to get this out there. All my friends spend all their time, their resources, their effort, and their energy. These little girls and little boys, not even of the diaspora, but of any place, who need to see this kind of work.
Yeah.
And we just don't have that kind of work available to us. So it's really important that we put it out there.
Yeah.
All right. So our next question. I know you worked with Kerry and other people that you work with. So, Sheffin, I don't want to butcher the name, but if that's how it's pronounced, we're gonna shoot. So, How did Sheffin assist you getting the book to the right platforms? Because it's not about writing the book. Maybe you write the book, that's your passion, but there's somebody who knows exactly where to put it so the book can be known and be published out there. So how did Sheffin help you?
And thank you for asking that. That's a wonderful question. So after Carrie had done all the illustrations, I need a graphics person to format the book for me, because that's a whole different skill. So you've got the artwork. Now you need to format it so that it can go into whatever platform you want. If you want it to be a physical book, if you want it to be on Kindle, that needs to be platform. So graphics designers are the ones who do that.
See.
So Carrie actually then connected me. She's like, yes, I can do art, but this is really out of my scope. This is digital media. This is a little out of my scope, and connected me to another phenomenal person. Her name is Tracy. Now, Tracy is also South African, but she's Indian. So she's from India, but grew up in South Africa. And Tracy was so instrumental. And so she's the one who was like, well, you need a logo. And I'm like, I do? She's like, yeah, you need a logo. I'm like, okay,
We
yes.
learned that.
And then she's like, well, what's the logo going to be? Tell me a little bit about it. So I told her about it. And she's like, well, then it sounds like it needs to be an elephant because that's your tribal totem. So I was like, that's a great idea. And she said, well, you also need a little like motto, like what is it about this company? And so she's the one who came up with, for the children of the African diaspora, may you keep our languages alive. And I was just like,
Oh,
Hmm.
amazing.
never thought about that. So she's the one who kind of looked about marketing and branding. So that was Tracy, marketing and branding. And then she's also like, well, this is a book. You need to have a little author's page. And so and I was like, oh, I do? I'm like, yeah, you do. So these are things like I just didn't know because that's not the space I'm in. And so that's kind of this educational piece. So she helped me brand it, and then she gave me all the different platforms and about where to publish. And at that time, I was still in Seattle. I think I had conceived, so I was pregnant. And so things kind of just slowed down. And so she gave me a couple different options of publishing, different formatting and who can publish the book. And then after that, I moved here to Wenatchee, which is about 2.5 hours from Seattle. And then things just stopped. So like a whole year went by and stopped. And I was like, oh, I think I'm ready to publish now. And I reached back to Tracy, and Tracy was unavailable because she also had a baby.
Oh,
Oh my goodness. Now I've got everything formatted, and the platform I picked actually needed you to pay for the publishing. And at that point, I had a young daughter. I had adopted children in Zambia. I've now moved, and I'd already spent money on, Tracy. I'd spent money on Carrie's work. And I was like, well, I really can't afford it. And so that's when I said, well, I'll publish with Amazon because it's free to publish. They take kind of a big cut. But I was like, I just needed to get out there. And so I asked on Aziswa, which is the Association of Zambians in Seattle, Washington, does anyone know anyone who's a graphics designer? Because Tracy had formatted it for another platform, which wouldn't work for Amazon. And so Shafin, who has his own magazine company, Juppie Culture, put me in contact with an amazing graphics person in Zambia, Lamek Goma. And so Lamek was the one who did all the formatting. There he is. So easy to work with. I cannot tell you how digitally slow I am. I don't know any of this stuff. And I'll talk to him, and Lamek would go ahead and I was like, okay, I want, here's Tracy's formatting. It needs to now be on Amazon formatting. And he formatted everything. And he was like, for example, I wanted a hardcover because, kids, this cover is hardcover, but there's also a soft cover and there's a digital format for Kindle. And so he did all those things. But to get the hardcover book, you needed a certain page number. And he was like, well, why don't we just come up with the little thing in the middle that says, can you remember all the animals? And I was like, whoa. And that got us to that page number. So Lamek was instrumental. So he used Tracy's work, he expanded on Tracy's work, and he got it to be published on Amazon. And that's what the final push was, because I couldn't do it. I tried to figure it out myself. I just couldn't. So he was so easy to work with. He's in Zambia. I WhatsApp him. He will immediately respond to me. And that's how this actually came to fruition, because Lamek pushed us through to the finish line, and I couldn't have done it without him.
Lamek, great job. I love how you just took it from here, took it back to Zambia, putting Zambia on the map. Zambia Kuchalo is like Lamek was a final nail that you just like, boom. And that's what we want to do. That's what we strive to do at Insaka. It's about empowering people in Zambia. It's got so much great talent, so many people that know things to do, but they're not exposed enough. So thank you for using Lamek. And Lamek, you're hired from us. From the and anybody else that's thinking of writing a book.
I know.
We go ahead, Erin.
I'm saying I know. You're talking about Lamek.
I know we don't have enough time, but Chipepo, you have an interesting story, even as a mother. You but we want to bring you back and talk about it. You also adopted twins. What is your favorite book?
Oh.
That you read and left an impact on you? And ladies, this is what I meant to say when we're doing the icebreaker. That was going to be a question. So that's a question for all of us. We'll start with you, Chipepo.
Oh, geez. I can't even remember the title of it, but it's by a Brazilian author. I read it when I was in high school. His name is Paulo Coelho. And geez, I cannot remember the name of it, but if you Googled Paulo Coelho, he's got this like tiny little book. You can read it in a day, and it's literally a story about that follows this shepherd, and he has a dream, and he like travels the world, and it's just such an inspirational, amazing, easy read. And I wish I could remember the title of it, but Paulo Coelho, phenomenal book.
Irene?
Let me Google
the
it.
Kite
Runner. The what?
Guys, the Kite Runner. Anybody read the Kite Runner? There's actually a movie, and the actual. So I read the book first, then I watched the movie. Oh my God, I cried the whole time. It's very touching, and it makes it sound like it actually happened, but it was fictitious. When I found out it was fictitious, I was so mad. I was like, man, they fooled me. Because I was like, I want to find this boy. But when I found out it was by, I think, Khalid Hussein. He writes I think he's from Iraq. Very nice books. You should read it.
What was the lesson from that?
I think the lesson that I learned from it is we take advantage of our space and the happiness that we have when other people in other spaces, they go through hurdles and pain and thorns to get to fruition. You know what I mean? By the time the got to America, he had gone through so much, and none of us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nelly?
I remembered the name of the book while I Googled it. It's called The Alchemist by Paul.
The Alchemist. That's what I was saying it, but I was on mute. I kept saying that.
I've heard of it. I need to read it. I've heard of it. I think Dr. Msoma, was it Nelly? Was it you? Either you or Dr. Msoma said about it.
The Alchemist. Yeah, I think it's Dr. Msoma. Yeah, I'm looking at it. It was published 1988. Yeah.
Wow.
We can share all the books that we're talking about on our. Just go there and read them. Watch a movie. So let's hear from Priska and Nelly. What book you have?
No, I think it's okay. In the interest of time, I would like to ask Chipepo, like of all the translations that you've done of the book, which one is the bestseller right now?
Oh, Nelly, I love it. I've actually not sold many books. I've been gifting a lot away. Um, so the selling part is kind of slow. I think the last time I published in December, and as of January, when I looked at the report, I think I had the most had sold was Bimba, but the selling part hasn't been too good.
All right,
Well,
guys.
I'm so glad we asked this question because, guys, everybody that's watching, there is a link, a direct link to Amazon so you can get the book. Let us go ahead and support Chipepo. Go ahead and share with your Igbo friends, your Yoruba friends. All of us have a Nigerian friend somewhere, and we know the community is large. We all have a friend from either Tanzania or Kenya. The Swahili community is also large. So I know the South African community within the diaspora, as far as I know, is not very, very big. But these countries that I've mentioned, let's change stuff. I'm going to go ahead and order my book today. I'm ordering the Bemba one for my kids. And yeah, please let's share.
With that being said, I
Go
want
ahead,
to
Chris.
challenge the people in the DMV area. We have Z101. We have Kete that started Z101 teaching kids how to read things about Zambian guys. And Kupi, this is your project. You need to share the link in our AZDMV WhatsApp group so the parents can purchase the book for their kids. We have to do better. I think this is a first that we have done this or that I've heard of somebody. So let's do better. Share this link. Share it with your friend, WhatsApp, even people that are in Zambia, even just buy them as gifts. Somebody's turning 3, 4, 5 tomorrow. Buy it as a gift and gift it to your friend's child.
The next thing I was going to do, and I'll do a challenge, is I've been wanting to gift them to our local library. For example, I live in Wenatchee, and we've got a phenomenal little library over here. They've got like story time. So wherever, if you don't have kids, if you are in a community, the local library and the resources they're amazing. So definitely just, gift one to your local library or local elementary school for our non-Africans, because that's the only way we're going to spread our language.
That's great. All right, we're almost at the hour. What advice would you have for somebody that wants to write a book now? I know you and Irene had conversations, but going through what you did, what advice would you give to a mother that's sitting there and saying, you know what, because you have so many careers anyway, like you also in healthcare, and we haven't even touched on that. We have so much to talk about. What advice would you give to somebody that wants to sit down and write a book?
Just start. You've got to start somewhere. And I think for me, the working on this project just was like a palate cleanser. I work and see devastating things on a daily basis. We are going at 120%, and working on this project allowed me to kind of return to like, oh, what really makes me happy? And so if you love writing, you love collaborating, you love your art, do it, because it's so important for your mental health that you are balancing all your obligations with things that bring you joy. And working with everyone in the diaspora, working with people in America is just such a joy for me, and it just gave me so much love and joy and rekindled something I had forgotten, in effort of like chasing the dollar. It was something that allowed me to stop and remember why I came to America, what I'm doing here, what value I'm adding to my children and to the greater diaspora. So whatever passion you have, whether it's writing, singing, dancing, give yourself 10 minutes per day and it to that. it will just bring you joy. It will make your family, your partner, your spouse just more joyous. So don't forget about things that bring you joy.
All right. Here you have it.
Any more books in the horizon?
No, but the next project would just be kind of expanding on it. For example, I would like to do some like touch to you push on it and then it pronounces the word for you.
Ah,
So that's kind of the next project. So I'm looking at actually not self-funding it because it's not a good idea with all my obligations. So I'm looking to writing grants to help me with that. And things like because I have a 2.5-year-old, so we do a lot of like woodwork and putting them like the letter in where it needs to go, those sort of things. So that's what I'm trying to do, is just expanding on what I have now to kind of next and other mediums.
This comment, I was going to talk about this comment. It's so funny. I was like, this is somebody that really knows you. She had to pull out all your names.
Oh my God.
She pulled like all your names and just talk about it.
Yeah, like if you don't know her now. She's my relative because she shared the same life.
Yeah, that's my little sister. She's in she is and her husband Alec is from Kansas and he is learning the Bemba book. She lives in the DMV in Delaware. So she's when I had my baby, she stopped everything and came on a flight as soon as I got introduced. So she and she is just such a joy. Yeah.
So wow, it's been such a great conversation. So much learning. In conclusion, I do want to ask you this. You don't have to give like the entire or the exact figure, but I think it goes without saying that there are so many people out there who have a passion for writing, or even just putting some work out there, like you've encouraged. What was your like just a ballpark figure of how much you put in, if you could give us the number to give somebody out there an idea? We already know that you haven't really sold anything, so the money hasn't come in yet, but what was your input to get this out there financially?
It was a huge investment. I'll just say I had the privilege at that time. I didn't have children, so I could spend how I wanted to. But the illustrations were kind of the biggest investment, as they should be. Ballpark. Yeah, I think Carrie gave me a discount, so I won't say. I'll say I think
like everything together, right? Not like this and this, right?
So the illustration and the graphics putting together, because everybody else contributed. I think give or take, I spent about $5,000, give or take. But remember, it's been over like 4 years, so that made it more palatable. But I think $5,000, yeah.
And you also saved a lot of money because your mother, helped with a lot of, and friends that you mentioned.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The translation. So you saved a ton of money there. But so for any one of you that are thinking about doing something, the cost obviously will probably vary, based on the type of book. This was an illustration book. So the cost there was immense for her. But thank you so much, Chipepo, for I see Mo calls you Chip.
Yes, so Chipepo is a whole different name. It's a whole different. I think it's a Tonga name, and
Chip. Sorry,
I
butchered it there.
But I want to give a shout out to you ladies of Insaka, and just the concept is amazing. This place, a meeting place, right? Insaka is a meeting place, it's a socialization place. So it's the opportunity and the time that you've given me, I really appreciate it. But this is such a wonderful thing you ladies are doing.
Thank you.
And you're invited back to talk about your journey as a motherhood, period. That's interesting.
Very interesting. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, Priska, please go ahead and close us out. We are at time.
Well, guys, thank you for tuning in. Chipepo, we appreciate you. Guys, any last words, anything that you have to say to our viewers? But next week, wait, let me not even jump ahead of myself. I'm so excited about next week because next week is Women's. We are supporting Women's Month. Winnie's got a brunch, but we, the Insaka ladies, are going to celebrate ourselves. We don't celebrate ourselves enough and pat ourselves on the back and say, what have you done? What are you doing? What are the amazing things that you're contributing to the society as a woman? As we know, the future is female. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in. This has been amazing, the Insaka Talk Show. Till next week, as we celebrate ourselves. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.